You're welcome back to SaharaTV. Ghanaians head for the polls next year to choose a new leader or to maintain President John Dramani Mahama. Hot in contention for the top post of president is Nana Kwaku Agyei Yebooah, leader of the new Patriotic Party. However, in recent times, there have been issues within the party that has left a sour taste in the mouths of supporters. There have been a number of infighting issues, culminating in the recent death of a regional chairman of the party. Following this, some officials in the party have called for the resignation of the chairman of the party, as well as the general secretary, who they blame, not just for the infighting, but also for the death of the regional chairman. We have on the line now Nana Agyei Yebooah, who is the chairman of the New Patriotic Party in the USA, who will help us understand what exactly is going on in the party 1 year to elections. You're welcome to SaharaTV, Nana.
Thank you very much, and good morning to viewers.
Thank you so much, Nana, for responding to our call. Let me ask you, Nana, what exactly is going on in the NPP?
Okay, as you pointed out in your introductory speech, that there's this unfortunate death of the chairman of the Upper East region, Chairman Adams Mahama, and also had a lot of calls for the national, specifically the general secretary and the chairman to step aside. And you also alluded to the infighting in our party and so on and so forth. I think we need to make a clear distinction. There are two elements to the issue. The first one is the death of Mr. Adams Mahama. That the chairman, Mr. Paul Afoko's brother, has been, implicated in the crime. But, the two elements in the case is, one, the criminal, aspect of it, that has to be dealt with by the law enforcement agents. And, NPP, as a political party, we believe in the rule of law. So even though Chairman Afoko's brother has been arrested, nobody at this point is, alleging or stating that Chairman Afoko is implicated, in the case. We want the legal process to run through, and but we also maintain a stand that when the criminals are apprehended, they have to be made to face the full rigors of the law. That's one piece, of the puzzle. The other point is the misunderstanding and the infighting within the party. I think that there's, we are expecting the leaders of the party, meaning the general secretary and the elected executives, all of them to work together, to move the party forward. But we've noticed that we keep on seeing the executive members running to the press, making allegations, counter allegations, and that doesn't sit well with a lot of the rank and file of the party, and that's what we need to be resolved. So those kinds of differences are culminated into Chairman Afoko and the General Secretary going into the upper Chairman Adams region, and Chairman Adams alleged that he wasn't informed of their coming. So it led to a confrontation, and eventually an incident happened that led to Chairman Adams' death. So most of the party members are not happy because they cannot, distinguish between the events that led to this unfortunate death and the culpability of the national executives, specifically the chairman and the general secretary.
I see.
In the incident.
Why though is everybody pointing fingers at the chairman and the general secretary? I cannot make the connection. Can you help us make the connection of all the executives, of all the rank and file of the party? These two gentlemen have been singled out and are being blamed for the death of Chairman Adams. Why?
Yeah, because it was the chairman and the general secretary who incidentally went to that region, and Chairman Adams claimed that he wasn't aware of their coming. So when they were there to hold a meeting, Chairman Adams' supporters, those who were loyal to Chairman Adams, were unhappy about the fact that he came to their region without notifying their chairman. So they organized to disrupt that meeting. And later on, they came to an understanding, organized another meeting to meet the chairman and the general secretary. Chairman Adams later on even issued, public apology to the chairman, and they amicably resolved, that misunderstanding. So everybody is pointing to them because the two of them went to the region, and that led to that confrontation.
I see. Is it illegal though? Is it wrong for them to go to the region? They are party officials. This is the chairman of the whole party and the general secretary. Do they need permission to go into anybody's constituency?
No, they don't. They don't. But I mean, I think as a matter of courtesy, and also when you're working together. Like for instance, I'm the chairman of NPP in USA, and we have about 20 chapters in different states. If I'm coming to New York, as for party matters, and I have to get the chairman there informed to know that I'm coming there, and you have to meet me. I'm going to this meeting. So if all of a sudden I'm seen in New York without the chapter knowing, definitely the chapter members are not going to be happy, and it could lead to confrontation and so on and so forth. So we are not saying that they don't have right to go to any region. They have right to go to every part of the country. But, I think the protocol is for them to inform
the hosting, totally. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Chairman.
That makes a lot of sense to me. But let me ask you again, though. There seems to be factions in your party. Not from now. For a while now, there seems to be, competing factions jostling for attention within the party. We have just 1 year to the general elections. Is there a reason why the NPP cannot unite and concentrate on the general elections?
Okay, I think this issue of competing factions within NPP is much overblown. To me, I think it's more bad press than competing factions. You see, we went to Congress, and about 95% of NPP members voted for the presidential candidate. Even in communist parties, you don't get that overwhelming support. So there's a NPP as a political party is not fractured the way it's put out there. The party is solidly behind its presidential candidate. There's misunderstanding, between the elected executives, and that's what needs to be resolved.
Nana, I'm sorry to cut in here, but I'm going to take you up on this. Just a few days, maybe even yesterday, there were a group of people who call themselves invisible forces who raided your headquarters in Accra and were threatening not to allow anybody who was opposed to the chairman to come in. Some months ago, there was also something like a bloodbath, if you will, at the party headquarters when members of the NPP actually clashed among themselves. What's going on?
Okay, I mean, I don't think those kinds of periodic friction is unique to NPP. You can find it in different parties. But, the way I think going forward, we need to manage it better. I'm aware of this invisible forces and so on and so forth. Nana appealed to them in his speech, in his press conference, and my information is that they've moved from the party headquarters, today. These are grassroots supporters who are aggrieved, and they get to be properly managed. Okay, so I think that if we have a functional executives, if we get all the National Executive Council working together in sync, we can manage these kinds of aggrieved, grassroots supporters who would like to usurp, powers unto themselves. This is alien to our tradition as a party. NPP is a very disciplined party. It's a party that believes in, democracy. It's a party that adheres to the rule of law. You see, so it's disheartening to see that maybe some disgruntled youth or disgruntled grassroots supporters would like to usurp, the powers. And that attests to that something is not working well, among the elected executives. And we hope that, the unfortunate event that we're going through will be a catalyst that for NPP to bring everybody together, and we emerge out of this more unified and stronger party.
That's well said, Nana. But let me ask you further. NPP seems to always hover around the cutoff point in the elections. Nana, though, seems to be a very likable candidate, of course, but he's never crossed the 50% line. So there are some people who would like to think that floating voters have something to do with whether or not Nana comes to power. Do you think what's going on in the party will attract floating voters?
Actually, there are different schools of thought to what you just posited. Even not crossing the threshold of the 50%, some of us believe that's not the case. That's why we went to court. Okay, we believe that we, made it well over the 50% threshold, but due to manipulations and electoral rigging and so on and so forth. But that, having said that, floating voters, they are a critical component in any electoral process. And NPP is a party that Ghanaians love the party, because the average Ghanaian knows that whenever NPP comes, I mean, if you look at the history of Ghana, the number of years, NPP has had a brief stint of Professor Kofi Agyei Yebooah's 2-year reign and President Agyei Kufuor's 8th year. And during those short period of times, Ghana was transformed drastically. And whether lovers or haters of NPP can agree with that. Okay, we appeal to the floating voters, but we are also concerned that if this kinds of infighting continues, unchecked, the floating voters might be discouraged. That is true. That's why, the party structures is going to have a meeting June 7th to see how we can bring our house together, because the house divided cannot stand. Okay, so we do understand that, and we need to continue to appeal to, floating voters, and also, make a good PR that what is, happening, what people see out there, and you get it, our opponents chiming in and making it as if, NPP has disintegrated. But that's the case. And, if I can make reference, like leading up to the 2012 elections, sitting outside, you might think that NDC has, broken into pieces. But they were able to, get themselves together and, move on to achieve victory. what is happening is unprecedented, and we're going to deal with the issues decisively and try to bring everybody together and then appeal also to floating voters.
I see. Now, Nana, I was speaking with a friend of mine. I was having this discussion with a friend who said something that has stuck to my psyche for a while. He said the NDC is an incompetent party and the NPP is an intolerant party. So in 2016, Ghanaians have the option between intolerance and incompetence. How do you assess this statement?
Okay, I mean, the fact that the NPP, NDC is an incompetent party, you know, has been clearly demonstrated over the last, 6 years. The incompetence and even corrupt. Not only incompetent, they are corrupt, and But NDC is that NPP is an intolerant party. I take exception to that. NPP is a very tolerant party because if you have, there are people within the party that are unnecessary, critical of the party. Each time they hop onto the radio stations making scathing comments about the party, and the party tolerates them. Okay, we've not taken arms against, I don't want to name names, but there are certain people that you question yourself whether they are true and loyal members of the party. But the party has not chased them out. Okay, MPP is a very tolerant party, and that is why we see most of our internal conflicts demonstrated openly, because we allow everybody, we believe in, freedom of speech. Everybody has the right to say what they think and, say it out there. So we may have our disagreements, but we are not intolerant.
Okay.
Okay, so that lesson is not between, an incompetent and corrupt, a party and an intolerant party. It's between an incompetent, corrupt party and a party that has demonstrated over time that we know the issues. I mean, MPP, the social intervention programs that we introduced in our 8 years reign is unprecedented in the history of the country. And everybody can testify to that. So, do we take even intolerance, or even if it's branded as intolerant party, that can alleviate, the pains of the suffering Ghanaian masses? Are we going to trade that for some people not tolerating certain things? But I will end to say that MPP is not an intolerant party and has never been intolerant.
I heard you. So finally, Nana, you issued a statement, NPP USA issued a statement, signed, of course, by you, the chairman. And in this statement, you are asking for the resignation or the sacking of party chairman Paul Afoko and Kwesi Agyei. The Ashanti Regional Branch of the party has also released a similar statement asking for pretty much the same conditions. Some say it's still the faction thing. It's the Nanado faction who are calling for the removal of Paul Afoko and Kwesi Agyei because you were never happy with them anyways. How do you respond to that?
Okay, I mean, in times of moral crisis, leaders must take a stand. Okay, sometimes the stand you take may not be palatable or acceptable by all, but you got to take a stand on the same. NPP USA is a leader, and we came to that conclusion painfully. Okay, it was a very painful conclusion that we came to, and if you read our statement, we made a clear distinction between the criminal element and also what is going on in the party. And then we concluded that, our conclusion was not just based on the incident that happened in Bolgatanga, but consistently we've seen that there's lack of, I think as leaders of the political party, meaning Mr. Foko and Mr. Japan, they should be compromising. Okay, sometimes leaders don't take entrenched positions. They should be compromising, be willing to work with other elected executives, even if you disagree with them. When NPP USA was in Ghana, we met Chairman Foko and his team, and we prayed to work with them. And we are willing to work with them. Okay, that's after these incidents are resolved, hopefully after the June 7th, the National Executive Council and the National Council meet, and whatever decision they come, if they come up with a decision that Chairman Foko and the General Secretary should continue to be in office, we are willing to work with them. But given the present circumstances and with all the evidence, as we saw them, we came to that conclusion. That has nothing to do with factions. We are not, doing that for Nanado or for any other faction. We believe that the party is supreme. The NPP is a party that our fathers, maintain with their sweat, money, and whatever. And it's a party that we want to keep going for posterity because, for Ghanaian youth, for children yet unborn. So when it comes to the matters of the survival of the party, whatever decision that we make, we are not making it for any particular individual. Nana Kwaku Agyei is a presidential candidate. For this time, he may not be presidential candidate forever. Kwesi Japan and Foko are General Secretary and Chairman respectively for this time. But the party would outlive them. Okay, so whatever decision NPP USA has taken is to see that we have a viable, a party that will survive, for years to come. And we didn't do it as a matter of, satisfying any particular group.
I see, Nana. Thank you so very much, Nana Agyei Yebooah, Chairman, NPP USA. We'll be following up with you on how this story develops. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you, SaharaTV, and keep on doing the wonderful job that you've been doing. Thanks.
We appreciate your compliments, sir. Thank you so much. Chairman of the NPP USA, Nana Agyei Yebooah, speaking about the recent goings-on in the party. SaharaTV, stay tuned. We've got much more on this program.